so forth. And so I feel like, as women, people want us to find that special someone by, a certain age, or otherwise you're considered as being a maid. So, and as of now, with our, how things have evolved over the past probably 10 years or so, I feel like society has accepted women being single, like, into their, mid 30s, late 30s now. And I'm very grateful and appreciative that that's more accepting now, that women don't have to be in a rush to get into a love relationship. And I feel like it was probably 20 plus years ago,
Yeah.
people had that old mindset. So I feel now we have
Yeah,
embraced a new
I gave you
mindset, a
the
more
5 minute warning.
positive, mindset around relationships and love and dating and so forth. And so I've written children's books. I've also written poetry books. I have 3 gratitude journals for all
Yeah,
ages.
it's a lot
And
better
I
than
also I
Marianne.
enjoy cooking as well. So I have 2 cookbooks, and I want to continue my cookbook series of cooking 40 recipes,
I'm going to
because I
go
feel
over.
like we can set and maintain goals. Within 30 days, you can accomplish anything. And so with 40 recipes to tackle diabetes. So
Yeah,
in 40
it's fun.
days,
I'm
you
going
can
to the
tackle
other one.
your diabetes head on. And also with weight loss, I have the cookbook called 40 Recipes for a Better Weight Loss. So in 40 days, this cookbook can help you with losing weight and getting to your long-term, weight goal that feels good for you.
Excellent. I'm looking forward to seeing more with what you've written. So what has inspired you to write what you have?
So what's inspired me to write what I have is just through personal experiences and just being able to heal from, low self-esteem and low confidence, and trying to fill that void in my heart of trying to search and find happiness within people, within, love relationships and dating and so forth. And I felt like I found, my sense of self through Jesus Christ, and I conveyed that in my novel Girl Rise. And Cracking the Happy Weight Code, it's also the same character, Allie Billings, that's portrayed in Girl Rise, and how she struggles with weight growing up, her relationship with food, and being bullied as a child, for her height and for her body type. And so this book kind of gives her story of some of the trials and struggles she went through, but also, giving biblical principles in the book. It helped her to see herself in a more positive light, a more happy light, and for her to be a healthy weight and size.
Excellent. And that sounds like something that would be meaningful and touching to so many people, a very wide audience. And I know with what we do here with AbilityMke Now, we are often, where our basic goal is to be connecting pieces together here for the ability community, the disability community, what things that we can offer up to be helpful, to be inspiring, to be educational for those in that arena. So with what you have, what pieces can connect in probably the best with the disability community?
I feel like, just being able to learn how to read. And I do author visits with the elementary school, middle school, and high schools. And I try to help and teach those to read the passage, but also to recall the passage as well. And also I feel like, with a colorful balloon ride, it uses simple words for kids to help them to identify and match colors. And so it doesn't make learning colors, complicated for kids, because I know some books that I grew up on, like learning colors and all, it was a little bit more complex than a colorful balloon ride. And so with a colorful balloon ride, I use images at the county fair to help children to understand what colors are. Like yellow is for sun, orange is for tiger, and being able to use things in nature and also animals as well. Those are things like kids can associate with, and they can remember what their colors are.
I love that idea. Actually, Kurt, I was going to bring you in here too. What thoughts do you have? Do you have some questions on it that are burning that you'd like to ask?
Yeah, I want to set the stage for it a little bit. I want to take this opportunity to share a little story from over 10 years ago. Sue and I are involved in water skiing out on Pewaukee Lake. And what happened was on a ski practice night with our club, I came up out of the water and we're show skiers. So I looked over to my right as had my skis gathered up to go back to the member area, the opposite direction. But I engaged a gentleman that was watching on. And I made the light remark of, hey, did anything look good? Was anything interesting? Did I do okay out there? Just kind of getting a little banter going with a, on-looking spectator, just casually looking on. And we talked a little bit about, he likes coming out to the lake and, likes to fish once in a while. And, doesn't get much opportunity to go out in a boat and stuff. He doesn't have a boat, so on and so forth. And the whole conversation got me to the point where I said, hey, what about looking into being a member of our club? Do you think you might go that direction to be a member with us and, enjoy your fondness for the lake this way? And there was silence after I said all that. And I didn't continue the conversation. I just looked at him and I just waited for him to participate in the conversation further. And what he came back with was, I thought you had to be somebody. So I bring this up today because there is this dynamic in community and in public relationships and, just being a person, how you make yourself available or not to others and groups out there, how welcoming or not that they are for others to think of themselves doing what you do. So here I listen to you, Alistair, and you're talking about, self-esteem, and you're impassioned to an audience of youth. And I think this is really a significant area. When we hear the news, like you said, you were a news reporter, and we hear the news in our country, I hope that if I could say that we do have an issue with, and we have a lot of room to grow in how we are making life in America available to the youth of the USA today, and for sure here in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I know you're from South Carolina, Alistair, and so there is this importance to think of, how youth can be tough to each other. So it's an interesting dynamic where, with peer relationships and just peer impressions and experience with our peers. And so talking about youth and their peers, and then the intergenerational thing, the adults, how adults are missing the experience and, like you might say, lack of confidence, lacking self-esteem, and then our expectations as adults, because we always aspire so high for youth. And when a youngster is not living up to our expectations, that adds to, it's like insult to injury, type of thing. So this is healthy discussion. And I love what you've devoted yourself to, Alistair. But what would you say further about this, that the work you do is about making a real impact for a child, and even on the adult side of this, and in disability services, there's something about transitioning from youth life, being a young adult, to a full-fledged adult at 21 years of age. And then you talk about dating life, love relationships. It's more complicated than what I think a lot of people give credit to, and not like people need to be all concerned and weary and leery about it. But the idea is maybe we could be more flexible and really celebrate what a person is doing, especially youth. So tell us more about that, Alistair. Where does that come into your heart work and what you are meaning to serve? Your writings to me are a writing of service. Mm-hmm. So how would you say that?
How would I say my writings are of service? Is that?
Yeah, I feel it's a service project. You're trying to give somebody younger than you a chance to avoid the path that you've had to endure.
Yeah. So I just want to be that example for them. I want to be able to provide, youth and children and adults of service where they can improve their self-esteem and confidence so they can be confident individuals like in their personal and professional lives so that they can be successful, so they can have the stable home and that they can have the family that they've always wanted, the career that they've always wanted, and just to be happy, healthy individuals.
And so with one of the books you wrote, I know you're mentioning about self-esteem. Tell me more about what you've written about. What is it? Because I know that's a topic that hits so many people in such a personal way, and it's very important to recognize those pieces that have to do with your self-esteem. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so when Allie Billings was growing up, in both books, Girl Rise and Cracking the Happy Weight Code, her parents were very traditional. They were old fashioned. And I think they kind of instilled that mindset into her. Like, I got to get this done at a certain age. I got to have this love relationship at this age, and also that stemmed from her grandparents, too. And so I think she kind of fell into that trap of, I got to get this done at that certain point in time. But after a while, that just got exhausting for her, and it affected her self-esteem and her confidence. And she just kind of wanted to crawl into a hole in a sense and just, kind of shut the world out. And just, at that point, that's when the fear and the isolation, the anxiety, and all that kind of came to the surface for her. And she struggled with an eating disorder that also affected, her, woman's, women's health. And so just her body just kind of shut down until she just kind of had just a epiphany moment of, I got to get myself back on track here. And so I think that's when God kind of intervened into her life. And I think God kind of woke her up in her sleep and just said that it's time to wake up, Allie, that I'm here, that you're not alone. I'm here to get you through this trying time. And I think Allie kind of had gotten exposed to being on TV. And I think the time she would see herself on camera, that she thought that she didn't look good. She didn't look right. So she was trying to like be this model size that was just impossible to obtain and to maintain for the long term. So
and what is the name of that book that you're just discussing, or that you were referencing?
So that's Cracking the Happy Weight Code.
Cracking the Happy Weight Code. I'm just thinking of honestly several people that I know that may have, including myself, that have an interest in reading more about that. What is the actual? Is there like a target age group that that your book would be ideal for?
So it would be ideal for teenagers.
Teenagers, okay. And is that something that that kiddos today can find in a library somewhere, or is this? I'm not sure how long your book has been out. Has it been out for a little while now, or is this a pretty new thing yet?
I would consider it to be a fairly new thing. So the book's on Amazon. So, and also I'm working on another book, and I've just got done kind of writing it. It's called Sarah's Story. So Sarah Crossroads is one of Allie's friends, and so they met each other when they were in college. And so Sarah struggles with a binge eating disorder, right? As her sister Michelle passed away, because they ended up in a car accident after prom. So this was Michelle's senior prom, and this was Sarah's junior prom. And so once they got to the hospital and everything, they pronounced Michelle dead. And it was just a devastating, that's, I could, that would be very tough. And so Sarah kind of resorted to food at that time to get her mind off of her sister and the devastation of her, dying in the car accident along with her and their friends. So Sarah she grew up a very, slender size. She was very athletic. She played basketball all throughout middle school, and then she started playing basketball in high school. And so um her she kind of comes to a crossroads in life, whether to choose a 9 to 5 job path like her parents want her to do in the field of psychology, or pursue her dream of playing in the WNBA, the Women's National Basketball Association, for the Atlanta Dream Team.
So I know you mentioned with an accident on prom night. That kind of hits home a little bit, that I know even our local school district, right where we live, I know they've done some demonstrations of bringing out the fire department and a car, and doing like what it would be like if you make choices that are poor choices, and an accident, it's right. They have done this right around prom time, just to have that kind of wake up call and realization of, hey, you gotta think about what you're doing. You gotta be not.
Yeah.
You're not invincible. You may feel like you are right now, but truly you're not. And just to get that thought in front of a person, so that it goes from one ear to the other, it goes through, and actually can be heard, and sometimes it's seen, and seen in different ways. And I'm glad that that's a piece that you're seeing as well there, and that you're writing about, so that that it can be that example for our youngsters, that they need guidance. We all do.
Yeah.
And I'm so thrilled that you're doing these things. Now, you mentioned that you do some speaking at schools then as well. So when you go out and do that, what types of things do you talk about with them?
So I've gone into the elementary schools, and I've done story time with the kids. So I've had the opportunity to introduce my children's picture books, A Colorful Balloon Ride and Lenny the Lizard and His Green Scarf. And I've also done it at churches too, where I presented all 3 of my gratitude journals: the gratitude journal for kids, and Show Life and Yourself Some Love, a gratitude journal for teens, and also Be Positive, a positivity journal for the adults.
Excellent. And yeah, we all need positivity in our life. I know
Yeah.
Kurt and I are members of our local Optimist Club, and that it's all about supporting kids and in our local area here. And I kind of wonder what kind of connecting point there may be, even thinking about that, because that's it's so important for people to have that perspective and to be positive. And sometimes it's hard to find the positivity, but a gratitude journal is a great way to go. How do you recommend people utilize your gratitude journals?
So for the kids, I get kids to write down 3 things that they're grateful for, and also write 1 thing that brought them joy, and also write or draw 1 thing that brought you joy that day. And also the kids can bubble in how they're feeling that day. So I have like a little bar at the end of the page. Also, I have the journal with me on hand, so I can kind of demonstrate it. I can kind of show everybody the page here.
So what I'm seeing is that it says, I'm grateful today. There's a box where you can fill in what you're grateful for today. And there's lots of space on the page where you can actually put down, put some words or some pictures to how you're doing that day. And it's such a great thing. I wish more people would understand the power of positivity and gratitude. I know, even just friends on Facebook, I see scrolling through there, people doing challenges of of however many days in a row of posting something that they're grateful for, and that's such a huge thing. So what is it that inspired you to do the gratitude journals? Is there something in particular that brought you to this?
So I would say the one thing that brought me into this was, I think growing up as a child, it was difficult. When my parents got divorced, I'm also coping and dealing with a brother who had Fragile X syndrome, and also my grandmother struggles with mental health. And so journal was just one way that I could release some of my emotions and feelings I was going through at that time. And I guess as I got older, I got to understand what gratitude is and what that means as a teenager. And so, gratitude is just being grateful for what you have, and just showing gratitude for the people and the places and things that you surround yourself with. I can just be grateful for food and water, being grateful for the sunlight, being grateful to have fresh air, I'm grateful for technology, just to be able to connect with so many people and being able to broaden, my network as an adult. Kids can just be, grateful for their eyes, being grateful for their smile, being grateful the fact that they can hear, they can see, they can smell, they can touch. Grateful for,
amazing. I
grateful
was gonna say,
for, yeah. No,
I'm
and
sorry, I
the
was gonna say, you say those pieces, and that's huge. I mean, what child actually thinks about that type of thing, to be grateful for their senses, for all these things around them, unless somebody's mentioning that to them and brings that to light. So I love that.
yeah. So also in the gratitude journal, I love Disney movies growing up, and so I have a quote in here that says from John Smith and Pocahontas: "I'd rather die tomorrow than live 100 years without knowing you."
Oh, I love that.
And another one is from Piglet and Pooh from Winnie the Pooh: "How do you spell love? You don't spell love, you feel it."
That's fantastic. I love that. That and it's relatable to so many people on so many levels. That's fantastic.
Yeah. And so these are the journals this is for the teens and this one is for the adults.
So I'm looking forward to hearing more and seeing where these all go. With now, I know you're able to do some in-person events at schools. Is that something? Have you ever reached out as far as like doing something on Zoom or doing something from a distance, or is that something you've done before or have an interest in?
Yeah, that's something that I did before. I actually did that once with an elementary school out of Anderson County. So that was fun. Being able to read Linda the Lizard and his green scarf to like a group of students. So
that's fantastic. So what kind of future plans do you have? I know you're working on a book now. Do you have other ones in mind for future as well?
yeah, so I want to work on my Nicole E. Nelson series. And so Nicole E. Nelson is all about fun and adventure, and she's also educational too. So she teaches children about the holidays and about the seasons and that kind of thing.
Fantastic. I love that. And I know we're getting down to just a few minutes left here. Kurt, did you have any other thoughts you want to share before we get to the end?
Sure. I want to make a check-in here, Alice. You're from South Carolina and you're visiting with us up here in the Milwaukee market, state of Wisconsin. So just for a little novelty and fun, when you think of Milwaukee, think of Wisconsin, southeastern Wisconsin. What do you know about us up here? Anything you're fond of? Anything from like Happy Days TV, or what do you think of when you think Milwaukee and Wisconsin?
I guess the first thing that comes to mind about Wisconsin is the state of cheese. So
yes.
Yeah.
Famous for the cheese heads that are worn often.
Yeah.
Awesome. And as we're going kind of down the trivia path just slightly, one thing that we often are doing is used to actually be a once a month thing on Wednesday nights here that we would have right after the radio show. It would be ice cream social night. So we like to ask folks, what's your favorite ice cream?
Oh, mine is butter pecan.
Oh, nice. I'm an Oreo fan myself. Cookies and cream goes a long ways in my little world.
Oh, okay.
And Kurt, you want to share yours?
Well, I'm big on the cookies and cream thing as well, but I always like to add an extra thought, and I'll go with mint chocolate chip as one of the great ones I like to turn to all the time.
Haven't done that in a while. I'll have to bring that one back to the surface again.
Yeah.
So I'm just thinking here, did you have any last questions, Kurt, before I?
Well, I want to make sure we show gratefulness, to say grateful for our friend Zach Clayton out of Colorado, who connects in here. He loves what we're doing here at River West Radio with the AbilityMke Now show, and he's got a pack channel set up that he uses to share out with his following what we're doing here at AbilityMke Now. So we're very appreciative of that, and the Community Pay It Forward program, where he gets businesses involved to support nonprofits. So great resource there in Community Pay It Forward. So back to you, Sue.
Excellent. Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, Zach's been amazing. We love him on the show. And Alistair, I can't thank you enough for joining us here today. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and what you do, and to hear more about your books. And I will do everything I can to make sure to just to share the word here with what we're doing with Ability MKE Now. And I'm even thinking about our own daughter here as far as how we can um, how we can best use what you're bringing forward, because I love it. So with our thanks and gratitude, I appreciate you being here. Again, my name is Sue Roskoff, and for all of us here at Ability MKE Now, we thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're
We
awesome.
want
Thank
to
you so much
thank
for being.
Ability MKE Now for joining us for the last half hour. We joined them in progress, and as you guys saw, once again, we had our brand new partner, Alistair, on with them. So I didn't know that she was going to be leaving us to go to them, or I would have told her, no, don't do that. No, I wouldn't have done that. It was quite all right. So we want to thank Kurt and Sue for doing a great job. Sue, as always, and Kurt, you did a good job. You were there. I'm joking. You did a good job. God, stop pouting. Stop pouting. You did a good job. So anyway, folks, join us again. Join us again next week for our double shot of Community Pay It Forward. Wow, my hair was a mess, and you just saw it. For the Pact podcast and for Ability MKE Now. Once again, my name is Zach Clayton, and we wish you a great week. Thank you very much, and take care of each other. You're all we got.